Storm clouds are coming, I can feel it on the wind. Lightning strikes, it takes me back there again. Back to the place that's always on my mind, just below the surface, hidden by the sands of time. You can run and you can hide, it'll find you every time. Try to drown it with the bottle, but that bottle runs dry. So down, down, down's how the story goes. I just keep digging this hole. Tomorrow's a new day, that's what they've always said. So put down your shovel, boy, and start acting like a man. Everything's got a price, this much I do know. Will I save for the future, or just throw it down this hole? You can run and you can hide, it'll find you every time. Try to drown it with the bottle, but that bottle runs dry. So down, down, down's how the story goes. I just keep digging this hole. Focus on the future, make peace with the past. Live in the now, and some never look back. Life's pretty simple, just like a song. Some sound right, and some sound so damn wrong. You can run and you can hide, it'll find you every time. Try to drown it with the bottle, but that bottle runs dry. So down, down, down's how the story goes. But I'm done digging this hole. Yeah, I'm coming out of this hole.
Good evening, I'm Tom Lamog, an instructor with the Cyber Chapter for Guitars for Vets and Cav Arts, the Challenge America veteran arts community. Welcome to Song Sung True, a veteran's view, where tonight we feature the original songs, stories of veteran and Nashville singer-songwriter Derek Stoner. After spending his youth growing up in a small town of Craig, Missouri, Derek joined the National Guard while still attending high school, then later joined the U.S. Army after 9/11. He went on to spend the next 20 years serving his country as an elite Green Beret with deployments to the Middle East, including missions to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Qatar. 16 deployments in all. During that time, Derek acquired his first guitar and slowly taught himself to play, which were the first crucial steps in pursuit of what would become a lifelong dream of writing and performing music. Following his retirement as a Master Sergeant in January 2022, Derek settled near Nashville to pursue this new career. He gathered enough material to book several live venues near his hometown in Western Kentucky, where friends and a growing fan base could hear him play his guitar and sing some of his favorite cover tunes while also adding some of his own. Now, 2 years into his music career, Derek has released his first album, multiple singles, and is currently in the studio recording his next album called Truth. We're taking the next 60 minutes to talk with Derek about his life journey and to also hear some of his own songs live. That's why he's got his guitar. Hey, welcome, Derek. Thanks for coming to the program and helping us get to know you a little bit more, get your message out and some of your music. How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, and hello to everybody that I can't see out there. I really appreciate you guys listening in.
It's great to have you. And boy, oh boy, first of all, let's go back to that song, Digging This Hole. Now, you know, part of the research that I've got to do to find out a little bit more about you is to see, you know, what you've shared online. You got your promotional, your press kit. You have your Instagram and Facebook and your own website and all. Digging This Hole appears to be one of your earlier singles released in May 2021. Is that
Yeah,
am I
it
close?
was. I think it maybe was the third song that I released. Yeah, second or third, somewhere in there.
Okay, so all right. Well, I got to tell you, that one it caught my ear immediately. Immediately, just the message, the story behind it. Can you share a little bit about the song and what the catalyst
Yeah,
was?
yeah. A lot of my earlier stuff is going to be kind of like the same story. I wrote that when I was still in the Army, kind of doing the retirement thing, going through the retirement process. And just some of the kind of the struggles that I was going through, and I know a lot of other veterans do as they're beginning to do their transition and kind of feel the sense of losing their identity from what they've been for however long. In my case, it was 20 years plus. So it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and I just started noticing I was doing some things, nothing terrible, but just kind of self deprecating things, not healthy for me, and I just wasn't in a healthy mental space, and kind of sitting there and trying to figure out what I had to do to kind of redirect myself, and that's the hole I was digging, and it's kind of it ends inspirationally, I think, because I got out of the damn hole. I'm not going to stay in here and I'm not digging any further. I'm going to get out and do something with myself.
Now, I know we've had a few conversations over the last few weeks, and one of the things I remember you mentioning is, this isn't something that you just, you've been doing all your life. I mean, you had just started writing, and there wasn't even a creative writing before you started to write. Is that true?
Yes, 100% true.
So no poetry, no
poetry, none of the
journal
typical
keeping
stuff you
or
hear,
anything like that.
like Merle Haggard. I was writing poems when I was 7 stuff. None of that. I enjoyed writing papers in high school when I took the time to do it.
Oh, like term papers, the
Yeah, like,
book reports.
right.
I want to talk to you about that afterwards. Because I've got a few audit reports that I've got to get done, but
Yeah, right on.
for another time.
I didn't say I was good at it though.
Oh, well, I don't know if your writing is anything like this song, and this was your third attempt at writing. And what were the ones before that? Can you tell us what were the song
Yeah,
titles?
the first one was a song called Even More. Before I even thought I was going to do this, my wife had been asking me to write a song for years. Obviously, I had no clue how to do it. So when I decided I was going to do one, I wanted to make it a gift to her. It was close to Christmas, and I did all the research and found a studio that would actually let me come in there, Mr. Nobody, and do my song, and that was it. And after that, I had so much fun, I went back and did a song called Break the Chain, and I think Digging This Hole came right after that.
Oh gosh! Now you mentioned your wife. How much of a role did she play, inspirationally, or did she participate with the lyric writing, or what was her role in all of that?
She's like the driving force behind all this. I never would have gotten on a stage anywhere if it wasn't for her. I certainly wouldn't be in Nashville. She signed me up for an audition in Nashville at Tootsie's, and I didn't even know it, and made me go down there. And it is kind of a crazy. You just get up on a stage. The place is open. There's like the real people there, and there's a band, and you just sing a song. So, but she made me do all that. So she's been paramount in all of it.
What did your wife think about it? I mean, this was for this particular song, your
Digging this
friends, your
hole?
family. Yeah, for digging this hole, because
I
this
mean,
is now you're on a roll. You've got your third song written, and it's kind of like by now, wow, maybe you're onto something. But what was the response from people who listened to the song?
uh, all kinds of responses, but her specifically, she wasn't a big fan of the song. I think because she knew where I was at. I mean, she lives with me, and that's what the song was about. And she was waiting for me to complete the lyrics in my life to that song because at the time that I wrote it, I hadn't yet completed it. You know, physically, in reality, it was just I know mentally I'm going to come out of this type of thing. So. It was one of my favorite songs. It still is one of my favorite songs that I have. But it was my absolute favorite for quite a while.
Oh, it rocks. You had quite a band backing. Are these friends of yours that they helped you with this,
No,
or
no,
how?
these are Nashville pros, and that's the only folks I was fortunate enough to get them the first time, and I've tried other things, and no, I just it's like I don't know,
The luck
like
of the
drinking
draw?
a 60-year-old wine the first time, and then you try a bottle of I don't know some crap. You're just not going to do it. Can't do that.
Trial and error. It's
Yeah,
and I guess it's probably worth noting here, when you really started to get into doing music, right? It's only spanned the last couple of years, right? So this is not anything like, okay, well, I've been a working musician for the last
no,
10 years. It's something that I aspire to. No, this is kind of like a crash course, isn't it? In learning how to
absolutely.
write. We're learning how to find musicians, to get into the recording studio. Is that true? Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still way behind the power curve on everything, but I'm a lot further than when I started. So
The dreams.
yeah,
Yeah, this is it. So so just like I had mentioned, just 2 years ago, 2021, you were quite busy. Obviously, I mean, you were recording, you were writing. Your Instagram page shows the release of the three songs, "Digging This Hole," which we just heard, followed by "It's Not Me" in September. Now, to kind of add to this vision of this is what I want to do, this song received airplay on commercial radio, WCCK 95.7, Calvert City, Kentucky. Um, and, I mean, for a band or for a singer songwriter to achieve commercial airplay is remarkable. And you did it in less than 2 years. What do you remember about? I mean, to me, it's kind of like, well, I was in radio, so it's kind of this is how the process I remember. Not everyone had the opportunity to just get the music to the radio station and they'll play it. But share a little bit about that experience. You managed to accomplish that within 2 years.
sure. And I can't attribute it to anything. I'm just blessed, and a lot of people looking out for me. Right place, right time. Probably the same stories you hear from a lot of musicians. Ended up playing a show somewhere out in, I think, Western Kentucky. I can't really remember where, but running into a guy that ran the radio station. And he really loved it and asked me to come in and sit down and talk over the radio, kind of like this, as we hear artists do all the time, as we listen to or any radios. And yeah, and he put that thing out there for a little while, and it was cool. That's what I remember about it.
And now, car radios, music systems that you'll find in cars and trucks these days will show the name of the song and the name of the artist. And I think I stopped
Yeah,
by one of your social media pages and someone had taken a picture of listening to your song. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is, definitely, this is pretty cool to be able to say, yeah, they're playing it on the radio and there it is. And of course, they take a picture of it and share it with everyone, which is helping promote your music as well, too.
yeah. Those are really cool moments, and several people have done that to me in the past, and yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like you're getting somewhere.
Man. So, well, we're still in 2021. The third song Bad Decisions was released on December 10th, according to your social pages. I know you're going to perform that live for us here in just a moment. If you can deconstruct the song we're about to hear from scratch, maybe, what is it that inspired you to write Bad Decisions? And, maybe kind of briefly talk us through the process. Was it the lyrics, or was this something from a guitar riff that that came to mind? And it's kind of like, I can build upon that. Now I just got to figure out the words. How did you have that song come about?
Well, initially, I was just doing some writing, and I had decided I wanted a honky tonk song, because I'm playing all these honky tonk. Even Bad Decisions didn't live up to that, I know, but that's where it started. And so I started fiddling around just on the guitar, trying to find a lyric or trying to find a run, to get something started. And something I found up there one night, the term Bad Decisions popped into my head, and I was like, wow. And my wife was sitting up there just kind of hanging out, and she doesn't write with me or anything. She had never written with me before, and she said, they're clouding your vision, just like clockwork. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And we just kind of knew it, and we sat there and wrote that song. And what the song's actually about, it's not a honky tonk song or anything. But when I think of bad decisions in my life, I go back to a period of time in my 20s when I was just making a lot of bad decisions. So that's what the song is about. And it's wonderful that she wrote it with me, because she was the most affected by my bad decisions.
Oh, wow.
Not
And good ones as well, too, right?
Well, of course, but
but then there are the bad ones.
Yeah, but what I've found over the course of since that one's been out there, it's my most popular song to date. People resonate with it better than some of the others, because it kind of steps out of a lot of my songs are very military oriented, which I love that, and it hits home to the veteran base. But some others don't really see that, I think. But bad decisions is everybody. We all made bad decisions. So.
All right. Well, I'd love to hear it. You want to go ahead and strum through that song for us?
Yeah, let's do it.
Derek Stoner, Bad Decisions.
Wake up sorry, an empty bottle of Bacardi is the first thing that I see. I look out the window, back in the shadows. I don't want the world to see what I'm becoming. I'm so busy running from reality. Maybe it's time that I start to rewind that. Clock's counting down on me. I'm making bad decisions. They're clouding my vision, turning life upside down. It's 1:45, and then comes the sunlight. Right before I shut it down, I'm running on empty, and so is my whiskey. Lord, I'm nowhere bound. I'm making bad decisions. She didn't come back. It's so easy to lose track, living life in this haze. But had I known she was gonna be gone, I would have changed my ways. But it's too late now. She's already left town on that late night train. She broke my heart, she tore it apart. Now all I have is pain from making bad decisions. Clouding my vision, turning life upside down. It's 1:45.
Derek Stoner and Bad Decisions. That's awesome, man.
Thanks. Hopefully, is that coming through too loud?
Oh, it sounded fine. I thank you, Melissa, who made the comment. Nice. Derek, you had mentioned something about songwriting, and maybe some of the songs that you're writing lean a little more towards veterans and such, and maybe you're trying to write music that is more appealing to I don't know, maybe the civilian community or so. Is that, do you give that a lot of thought when it comes to writing, that maybe you're focusing too much on one thing and you want to try and broaden the message a little bit?
Well, no, I don't give it a whole lot of thought. And I haven't been doing this that long, so I'm certainly no one to lecture anyone. But what I have found for myself, the singer songwriters that I truly like are the ones that write their own songs. Nothing against anybody that sings other ones. I'm not judging anything. But for me, I find that I have to believe what I'm singing. And I'm not saying that someday somebody couldn't write a song that I hear that and I'm like, please let me sing that, because that's my story too, because that could happen. But for me, I want to sing about what I'm feeling right then. And we all go through a assortment of different emotions and time periods in our lives. Of course, when it started out, it was pretty much solely military based, because most of that stuff I was still in the military when I was writing it. And now I'm removed. So other things start coming along because I'm getting different experiences in my life. So I think that's kind of what I focus on the most.
From our chat, Ronnie Burgess, perfect. Daniel Bigelow, Daniel, well done, passing those messages on. Hey, by the way, Paul, our chapter coordinator, Paul Lilly, will be joining us with more questions later in the Zoomcast. So for those of you who are watching, feel free to enter those questions into the chat function, and we'll get that in front of Derek before the show is over. So going back to your song, Bad Decisions, a song, from what I am able to gather, it created a milestone for you as it appeared on your first extended play, your first EP called Break the Chain. So, I mean, that kind of like that and the other songs that I had mentioned were all put on this new EP and was perfectly timed. It was around the holidays of 2021 is what I gather. There must have been some anticipation, some excitement, some eagerness. It's your first. Can you recall that time?
Oh yeah, of course. I was fired up. At the same time, I didn't know what to expect. Never done it before. All uncharted territory for me, and just a lot of excitement. And I really enjoyed the period of time when it was new and fresh, because as you all know, music gets old real quick to folks. But I really enjoyed that period when I was interacting with a lot of people and just talking about the songs and stuff like that. And that was my favorite part about it.
Now, speaking about getting in front of people, there are several images of you performing live in front of audiences. In fact, the opening video may have shown some of that. Also, on again, like your Instagram pages, you're out there quite frequently, and I would imagine you do come into a lot of people. Here's the one thing that stuck out in my mind as I'm looking through some of the posts, and that is you played about, or maybe even more than 200 shows in 2022. Is that true?
It's true, yeah. Like I was telling you earlier, when my wife made me go do the Nashville auditions, it just took off there because, I mean, believe it or not, there's folks down there that I play with that do like 500 shows a year.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy. But yeah, it was a great opportunity for me. I learned, the best thing I got out of it was just musicianship and being around other players that were lifelong musicians, and just learning a lot from them. And then obviously the exposure, because in that area you're playing for people all across, not only all across America, but even the world. Every day, different folks, and I don't know of anywhere else you can do that. Maybe Las Vegas or something. But so it's a great opportunity for that, to really spread your word and your music.
Very true. And boy, what better way to do that than doing a couple hundred shows?
Yeah.
But maybe you can. So for our audience, of course, we've got our veterans who are learning to play guitar. Some of them have these aspirations of actually playing, singing, maybe even jamming, maybe even beyond that. Maybe you can share, what it was like when you were, you're starting to play guitar and you thought, I'm good enough where I can sing. And can you talk a little bit about, what that really took for you to incorporate singing with your guitar playing?
Well, for me, the only reason I wanted to play the guitar was so I could sing. Singing is my passion. And now, don't get me wrong, I love the guitar. But in my opinion, I'm a way better singer than I ever will be a guitar player. And that's not going to be for lack of trying, because I'm going to try until the day I die, because I'm in love with it. And it's a true challenge to me. With my voice, I feel like I didn't do anything for it. God gave me the voice, and I can do something with it if I choose. But He didn't give me this amazing. You get on Instagram and see a 5-year-old kid playing, ZZ Top. Like, I was like, it would take me like a year before I could even play that. To me that's a gift. And but that's what intrigues me about the guitar, because it's work. It's work, and you earn every note, every fret, and it's a fun journey. So what I would say to any, because we're all different. Some people pick things up faster than others do, and I'll say once again, the guitar did not come natural to me, and still doesn't. By the way, I spend hours every day playing this thing, and I do love it, but it has become work. But I would say, if you're passionate about it, I guess, to take an old, Braveheart, my favorite movie quote, have the courage to follow it. And you will not be disappointed. Even if at the end of the day you never even played your guitar, it will have led you into something better than where you were at. And that would be my advice.
So guitar obviously it sounded more of the challenge than the actual singing, because you probably did a lot of singing, but not a whole lot of guitar playing.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been singing to the radio all my life, like probably most folks, but not playing guitar. So it was like, not that I, was great at singing or anything, but at least I knew how to sing, kind of. But I didn't know anything about this. So when you start to try to match them up, boy, all you can think about, like, I couldn't even sing anymore, because 99% of my brain is thinking about what my hands are doing to stop that wretched sound that's coming off this box on the front of me, and so it takes a considerable amount of work. It did for me anyways, to get to where you can feel comfortable playing, and not have to think about it. So you're able to vocalize how you want to vocalize.
I got to ask you this question, because most of the musicians, several of the guitar players that I would jam with, or would just go ahead and perform with, they've had their stories about locking themselves away and don't bother me for X number of hours, days, weeks, because I gotta get this right. Are you one of those types of musicians?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned I was really busy last year, and I was busy on the front end of this year, but I have decided to slow way down as far as shows go, because I'm trying to create, now that I know what it is, I know what show I want to have now. I know what capabilities I can live within. And I'm taking the next 2 or 3 months. I'm going to be playing a few things, but not very many. And that's what I'm doing right now. I play guitar probably 10 hours a day. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that's what I do for work. I approach it mentally like that, to learning.
I want to shift gears for a minute here and kind of lean on maybe some of your experience within the military. Is there anything that sticks out to you in your military training, your training, the experience, just some of the values, experiences that you can apply directly to being a musician, a songwriter, guitar player? I mean, if you're going to go ahead and just allocate X amount of hours in a sitting, even today, that's got to come from somewhere. That motivation's got to come from somewhere. Does it tie back into what you were doing as a Green Beret?
Yeah, I think what ties back is how you execute it. It absolutely does. For me, I'm a passionate person. At the beginning, I have to really want to do that. And whatever that is, I'm going to pursue it with everything I have. It happens to be this right now. 10 years from now, I have no idea what it's going to be. Maybe it'll still be this, maybe it won't. But once I've decided what that is, all the military stuff comes back on how I execute it. I make lists of songs that I want to learn, songs that I know but I've only played them less than 20 times, songs that I have in the bag. I have all these lists, and I play these songs a certain amount of times every day. And if I go and do a show, I track all that stuff. And that meticulousness comes from what I learned in the military. And it's just what I know. There's probably better ways to do things, but I don't know of them. And it's kind of, I'm 42 now, and the whole you can't teach an old dog new tricks kind of thing maybe comes into play a bit. But yeah, and I wouldn't have any of that without the military.
Wow. Well, let me ask you about when you were actually in the military and you actually had a guitar and finding the time. How did you manage that? Can you kind of describe, maybe some of the circumstances that you found yourself in where it actually allowed you to play that guitar?
Well, yeah, but in reality, it's kind of the opposite of what you're thinking, which is the funny thing about it. So, when you're deployed overseas, you're either working or you're not. And I know that sounds simple, but you're either doing something. At least in my line of work, we were either had an objective and we were going to go do this, and when you get back, okay, you have to take some time to eat and work out. But that leaves all the rest of the day. It's not like you're going to go to the mall, or you're not going to take your family out to dinner. All these things are wiped out of your life. So what you end up with is a lot of time where it's free time, but there's nothing to do, but lay around and watch movies on your computer or something like that. And so I did a couple of those trips, and I'm just one of those people that has to be doing something all the time. And before I went back, I think it was my third deployment, I bought a guitar. I told my wife, I was like, I got to have something to learn in my free time. And so that's how that started. And, as the years progressed, if we had a free night or something, I'm playing guitar for my buddies, and, maybe we might have found some beers or something. Who knows, but just having fun with it, with the 3 or 4 chords that I knew during that time.
Wow. Well, awesome. Listen, we're at the point now where there's another original here that you're going to be playing for us, Will to Survive. And this is one of your originals. What's the story behind Will to Survive?
Yeah, so when I started playing out a lot, or quite often, what I found was, I didn't intend on this or anything, but what I found, I had a bunch of veterans coming up to me when they would find out, because I would say it, and they would obviously hear it in my music. And like after I would get done performing, just show after show, veterans would come up to me, and so many times, veterans, we can strike up a conversation if we didn't know each other from Adam, just like that. We have that ability because we've shared common ground together, and that's a great thing. But it even surpassed that. Folks would come up to me and just literally start pouring their heart out and saying, listen, that song, that song touched me, man. I know exactly what you're saying. Thank you for it. And it kind of got into most of these folks that were coming up to me were, like I said, veterans. They were not currently in service. So they'd been out there struggling, a lot of them, out in civilian life. And, I'm talking tears and everything else, and people that I became friends with and stayed in contact with. And I'm no counselor, but just the having a friend type thing. And so that's where this song came from. I actually wrote one before this, a song called It's Not Me, that was directly because of that. And both of the songs sound completely different, obviously, but they both mean the same thing. It's like we did all this stuff, and now you're back. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to take care of your family. You can't live you get removed from like a big part of what your family was, being the military, and it's gone. It's not forever gone. You can keep brothers and sisters along the way, but you're not going to keep it all. You're not going to keep the same experience, but you have to be resilient. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's where it stems from.
Fantastic. Well, Will to Survive. And Derek Stoner, let's hear it.
20 years ago today, Uncle Sam said, let me show you the way, son. Pack your bag and drive in pairs. It's a young man's game and we need you here. Your back and toe the line. Counting on you to make the world right now. Your innocence lets out one last cry. In its final breath it tells you to survive. Did your duty, you served your time. Now the war you fight lives on the inside. Nothing is normal and nothing feels right, but you gotta hold on to your will to survive. That's a loud one.
That's also quite a song. The ability to take these stories and putting them into music and song is a gift, my friend. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much.
Hey, we're talking to Nashville singer-songwriter Derek Stoner, who served as a Special Forces Green Beret for 20 years and was also deployed to the Middle East 16 times before retiring from the U.S. Army in January 2022. Derek is going to be taking some of your questions, so if you have them, please continue to post them in the chat feature, and then Paul's going to be joining us here momentarily to talk through them. So 20 years, Derek.
Yeah.
20 years. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And my
Thank you.
goodness,
It's a privilege.
most of the veterans that I have spoken to have served, but this is really quite unique. I mean, from at least my experience, 16 deployments to the Middle East as well.
There's folks that have done a lot more than that, believe it or not. There is.
Yeah, okay. But we have you, and you're telling us those experiences, and we are so appreciative. Without getting too deep, and I'm going to leave this up to you. Would you like to share some of the places that you've been during your tenure, some of the things that are memorable to you?
Yeah. So definitely. So I came in. I was in the National Guard from I think 97 to 2001. Obviously, 9/11 happens. I decide I want to go active duty. Next thing you know, I end up in the Special Forces qualification course. Back in those days, it took 2 years to get through there. So I didn't show up to my operational Special Forces unit until 2004, and it was pretty much Afghanistan was going, but in the year 2003, kind of the mass effort went to Iraq. So I spent a lot of time in Iraq the early years, and sprinkled in some Afghanistan work as well, but mainly Iraq for probably the first 6 or 7 years that I was doing what I did. And then kind of fast forwarding between Iraq and Afghanistan, I'm just speaking specifically of the combat stuff. Syria, the Syria thing, Turkey-Syria thing kind of kicked off and kind of ended up doing the last portion of that, mainly in those areas. Would still do some Iraq stuff and bounce around. And then there was also other different type missions in several different other Middle Eastern countries, Israel, Qatar, Yemen, Oman, Jordan, a whole bunch of other places. So you get a real good geography lesson, when you, I guess we're in the last 20 years, and as we all know, that's probably going to continue. So, that's mainly where I spent my time, those various different places. But
Wow. Of course, because you have to work with a lot of people. Are there any individuals that you remember fondly from your time, from your deployments, that may have helped you become the person you are?
oh, mercy, yeah, there's too many to mention. But to keep it broad, I would, a special forces unit is called a operational detachment alpha, and I know not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but for those that don't know, it's a small 12-man team, and the leader of that team is what's called a team sergeant. And I had several of them throughout my career, and so many of those guys, they're like having dad around all the time. But all of a sudden you're a man, so you're actually listening to your dad and gleaning everything you can for him in order to not only get yourself killed, but your brothers, So yeah, and I'm not going to mention any names or anything like that. But then there are others along the way as well, teammates. When I first got in the Special Forces, I was 23 years old. When I was first actually qualified, I had all the training supposedly that I had, but to come to find out, once you're what they say is qualified, your training really just started. It takes years, and you find that out very quickly when you arrive at a team of salty Green Berets that have been kicking doors in and kicking ass for years. You realize that you don't know jack. So I can attribute that to so many people.
Oh, thank you again, Derek. Let's fast forward to leaving and re-entering civilian life. What do you remember from that?
No, I didn't like it. I had a rough time with it. By the time prior to me leaving, I worked myself up, and I was the guy I just described to you, but for other people under me, and it was a great place to be. It was a great way to end it, but I didn't want it to end, But reality sets in, and it was time for me to go, both as far as Army doctrine goes, and mentally and physically. It was over. It was over, but it's hard to accept that. Because it feels like you're accepting it all in one day, virtually.
Right. Oh my goodness.
So I struggled with it for a while, but the godsend was this, and that's what's so great about what y'all are doing, by the way, because it's funny, but this thing probably saved my life, and it's amazing. But you all know that, and that's why you got this organization. So, tip of the hat.
All right. Thanks, Derek. Hey, listen. So we're at another point where we can get another song in here, another original tune. This one, "Break the Chain," and it seems appropriate, really. What's the story behind this song?
So don't mind me, I'm going to do a little tuning while I do this, but this was the second song that I put out. This speaks specifically to what you were just talking about. The chain in this song was the Army, and not in a negative way, but it was, I couldn't be doing this, which was another dream I had, if I was still a part of that. I had to do that because that was kind of an all or nothing scenario. And it just, it came time to move on. But not only that, I was sitting around thinking about, it's easy for all of us, I'm not going to say all of us, it's easy for me to sit around and look at a situation or look at the past and roll over and mull over how the things affected me. And forget all about how it has affected my wife, my children, and everything else. And I really started reflecting on that a lot when I was getting out. And that's really what this song's about. It's about leaving the military, all the great things that it provided me, but also all the hardships, not on just me, but on my family. And it was time to break it and to move on.
Well, real good. So, "Break the Chain," Derek Stoner.
Wind on the airfield and dries your tears. Living alone now for so many years. Mountains of memories and valleys of pain. I think it's time to break the chain. We're gonna break the chain, throw it on the ground, yeah. We're gonna break the chain, and that's a holding us down. We're gonna break the chain, toss it out to sea. We're gonna break the chain, now it's you and me. We're gonna break the chain. The losses are real and the time is gone. Too many nights spent away from home. Lord, I hope it hasn't been in vain. I think it's time to break the chain. We're gonna break the chain, throw it on the ground. We're gonna break the chain, that's a holding us down. We're gonna break the chain, toss it out to sea, yeah. We're gonna break the chain, now it's you and me. We're gonna break the chain. There's a light at the end where we can step in. Baby, you can start to see. We're gonna break the chain. Oh yeah.
gonna break the chain and throw it on the ground. We're gonna break the chain, it ain't gonna hold us down. No, we're gonna break the chain, toss it out to sea. We're gonna break the chain, now it's you and me, yeah. We're gonna break the chain. Whoa, break the chain.
Derek Stoner, everyone. All right.
Hear those guitar flubs in there?
Not at all. Hey, remember who you're talking to? You're talking to the veteran guitar learning community here, and what you're doing. And I have to say this. I know you mentioned how you're still learning to play guitar. Oh, yeah, you're getting some really nice licks, some hammer-ons in there. You're moving up the neck. I think you're doing awesome, dude. For only. Now, let me go back to guitar, and you had obviously some downtime. Do you remember your first guitar, and what was it?
I do remember it. I don't remember what it was. My brother has it now. He's in the Air Force. He lives in Florida. I could call him, but that's going to bore everybody. I can't remember. Maybe a Yamaha, but I'd be lying.
Oh, okay.
But he has it. I give it to him. It was actually when I was in high school I got that guitar. I don't remember how I got it, but I never learned how to play it. I just never learned how to play it at all. And at one point he asked me if he could have it, and I was like, yeah. But I called him once I decided I'm actually going to be a guitar player 20 years later. I said, I don't want it back, but don't you ever get rid of it.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of it. It's mine. So I don't know.
And you're playing what now? Is that a Taylor that you're playing now?
This is a Taylor. Yeah, it's this particular one here. I have a few of them. This is my nicest one. It's my favorite. Her name's Charlemagne, by the way. But it's an 814 concert edition. I love Taylors. My wife bought me this probably 10 years ago. Couldn't play a lick, but I had begged her for one.
Oh my gosh.
She got it for me it was either birthday or Christmas present. And once again, it sits on the shelf because I would never take it overseas. It's too nice of a guitar to do that.
Insurance. Just get insurance. You're good.
Well, I do have insurance, but I still couldn't bear. I have a 5 Series.
Oh gosh.
Too nice to be doing that, and I took it back and forth for years, and it's beat to hell.
You're talking series numbers already. Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, Derek. Well, listen, it's about that time. It's time to bring Paul Lilly in to run through some of the questions that have come through on the chat. And if you have a question, the audience, feel free to throw it in there. And Paul, what you got?
Thanks, Tom. Derek, we're just seeing a lot of gratitude in the chat tonight.
Great. Thank you, guys.
And it reminds me of one of my favorite authors when I was growing up was Richard Bach, and he would talk about the writing process being a very personal creative process, and he likened it to opening up a vein to start that writing process. So I appreciate what you're giving us tonight with your music. I could definitely tell you're a guitar player as well. When I was listening to your music in preparation for this, I was drawn to a lot of the acoustic beginnings that you have with a lot of your songs, and even in the song you just played, or Will to Survive, all those kind of runs and licks between the chords, you could tell that you're really using the instrument. So it's awesome. I'm going to go back up here on the chat. We have Mountain People who wants to know about your creative process. Is it the lyrics first, or is it the music?
I would say for me, there's not a specific. If I had to do a majority, with me, it starts with an idea. Then it goes to, let me put this on the guitar somewhere so I can tell where I'm going to sing this, and then comes the lyrics. That's most of the time. But there are times where just a couple lyrics come out, and I'm like, I have to make this into something.
It is just an observation from Melissa for all of the gigs that you had played. She was observing that it's pretty amazing that you still have your hands attached.
Well, thank you. We're still working for right now. Yeah.
Joel wants to know, how did you find your voice when you started to sing?
Just through doing it over and over and over. If I go back a couple years ago and listen to myself sing, it gags me. It still gags me today. We all hear when we hear our own voice. I think I'm not the only person like this, but I don't think anybody likes to hear their own voice, even talking. It weirds me out when I hear myself. But just by doing it over and over, and like your vocal cords are an instrument as well, and by practice and repetition, you figure out how to do things with them, and mainly for me, control them because as you can tell, I'm loud in a lot of my songs, not all of them. All the ones I'm doing for you tonight, they're all loud songs, and that took a lot of figuring out how to control it and not do a yell. You don't want it to be yelling.
Well, maybe you could vote for one of this because the chat is really liking your voice. I mean, it's a very authentic, strong voice. Daniel says it's tremendously strong, reminds him of Garth or Charlie Rich or Merle Haggard. I was hearing a little bit of a Travis Tritt vibe. Gary thought a little bit of Toby Keith in there as well.
Don't make me pull out the covers, guys. Yeah, I guess if I have to vote, it'd be Travis Tritt because I know so many of his songs, and he was just. I would set a quick story for you before I started any of this on some of my last deployments. Times have certainly changed. On a couple of my last deployments, I could lay in my rack and be on a Wi-Fi and be strolling through YouTube, which didn't happen a long time ago. But either way, progress, I guess. And I can't tell you how many times I've watched Travis Tritt sit there in an auditorium somewhere with just his guitar and make it sound like a full band. And that was always very inspirational to me and something I hope to be able to do someday.
Gary wants to know who some of your favorite songwriters are and why.
My favorite songwriters are also vocalists, mainly because I don't know the other people. There's a lot of names I know, but I've never really connected the dots to follow them through. So one of my favorites is David Lee Murphy. He's written a lot of great songs that he hasn't sung himself. Chris Stapleton. You'd be shocked if you don't already know how many hits Chris Stapleton has that he never sang. He also obviously has a bunch of hits that he wrote and sings himself. But those would be the top two, for me.
Mountain People wants to know if you record at home or the studio.
No, the studio. I do anything that you hear professionally recorded is done in Nashville in studio. I do not have the capabilities and or the knowledge to do that myself.
And in reference to your song Bad Decisions, Anonymous wants to know what we can do if we're in our 60s still making bad decisions.
I don't know. You probably don't want to know what I know. What I'd tell my wife, I'm like, well, hell with it. Let's go get some beer. But I don't know. I don't reckon you're doing that bad.
I think I've got the questions out there. I really appreciate it. I mean, I love, for me, it's so easy to hear the authenticity in your songs. I mean, it just really, really comes through. So I really appreciate that.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it, brother.
All right. Maybe now would be a good time to talk about Guitars for Vets and who we are before Derek has his last one more song to sing. So here's what you all need to know, especially if you are not familiar with Guitars for Vets. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our cyber chapter allows veterans to enroll in the G4V program free of charge and complete private lessons online. These lessons are individualized and designed to help veterans learn guitar at their own pace. Upon completing our 11-lesson program, veterans receive a new acoustic guitar and the accessories needed to continue playing. Registration for Guitars for Vets Cyber Chapter opens on the first day of every month and remains open until full capacity has been reached. For more details and also support our mission through donations, go to our website, www.guitarsforvets.org, and help us to put music in the hands of our heroes. How's that, Paul?
That's beautiful. I was just going to say you can also get hooked up with an instructor via CavArts, but most of you know that because you're a CavArts member. And I wanted to give a shout out to Ronnie Burgess. We have several instructors and students on this call, but Ronnie just graduated very recently, so he's probably our newest Guitars for Vets grad.
All right, Ronnie, way to go. Congratulations. All right. Thanks, Paul. I'll let you go. Let's see. Derek, one more song, Bad Man Finder. What's the story behind that one?
Well, this is my latest release. It hasn't been out very long. Basically, it's a tribute to my Green Beret brothers. Really, there's a band out there that I really like by the name of Whiskey Myers. Some may know, some may not. But a few years back, they put out a song called Frogman, and it's in dedication to the Navy SEALs. And I worked a lot with the Navy SEALs, got some great friends. But I thought that we needed our own song, and we got a real outdated tune called The Ballad of the Green Beret, and it gets played at, ceremonies and stuff like that. But it's not rocking at all. So that's the inspiration behind it.
Real good. All right, Bad Man Finder, Derek Stoner.
Salt rings on my sleeves. This desert heat makes it hard to breathe. I wake up when the sun goes down. Gotta prep these tools of the trade. My guns are old and I've got my blade. Gonna bring old glory into your house. You better run and you better hide. We don't knock before we come inside. You can say goodbye and put on your friends and forget about the world you've been living in. I'm a bad man finder. Bad man finder. Dark cloud fills the air as the ships of the sky are coming down to bear. Feet hit the ground, I'm a running, I'm gunning for you. Lasers light up the night, the flash of the muzzle, it's a firefight. 3, 2, 1, boom, and let the party begin. You better run and you better hide. We don't knock before we come inside. You can say goodbye and put on your friends and forget about the world you've been living in. I'm a bad man finder. A bad man finder now. Yeah, you better run and you better hide. We don't knock before we come inside. You can say goodbye and put on your friends and forget about the world you've been living in. I'm a bad man finder. Bad man finder. Bad man finder now. Bad man finder.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome. I see Super Bowl Sunday written all over that one, Derek. I don't know why. Awesome. Hey, tell us where we can find your music and your touring schedule and your videos. Where can we find that?
Yeah, so I have a website, derekstonermusic.com. Spelled basically just how it sounds. Derek is Derek. I have Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all Derek Stoner Music. As far as music that I put out, anywhere you stream your music, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, any of that stuff, Pandora, it's all there. Just type my name in and it'll pop up.
All right, fantastic. Well, listen, we're going to go ahead and We're 8 minutes after the hour. We're going to go ahead and bring things to a close. Thank you all for watching Song Sung True, A Veteran's View. We hope you've enjoyed the conversation with Derek Stoner. Next month is episode 5. We'll be joined by Iraq War Army veteran, full-time Denver firefighter, singer, songwriter, and family man Tim Megan Jr. It's going to be Thursday, November 16th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. For Guitars for Vets and Challenge America Veteran Arts Community Cav Arts, I'm Tom Lamog. Until next time, everyone, thank you. Good night. Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Paul. Take it easy.